How's it going, everyone? I'm the JJ. Welcome back to Anna Mondays. And we're going to hop right into it, except we're not doing a movie or a TV show this week. We're going to do a top 5. I know I did one for a Filmography Friday once, so let's be fair. We're doing top 5 anime openings, though there is a caveat, in parentheses, we're going to put in non-long-running series. I don't want to clutter this list with your Bleaches, or your One Pieces, or your Fairy Tales, or your Narutos, because honestly, we could probably just do a 5 opening in most of those series alone, like 5 Bleach openings, 5 Naruto openings. They have such good openings anyway, and they're long-running series. Not my favorite series, kind of dislike a lot of them, due to the length, but the openings, phenomenal. And eventually maybe we will do some of those, because I really do, I think they have a lot to offer. Though, cutting those out, I want to talk about ones that people don't necessarily talk about all the time. As you can see right here, I got my Venom cup, and what we're doing with this is I have a bunch of little papers in there, as you can see. A bunch of little papers with names of shows written on them. And what I'm going to do is at the end, to see what we're going to do with our marathon next week, I have old Cartoon Network shows, Disney Channel afternoon shows, Nickelodeon shows. All of them are in this cup. I have close to 100, I think, actually. Holy shit, this is going to take a while. And I'm just going to pull one out of the cup, and we'll see what we're doing next week. But that's next week, this is this week, and let's hop right into our fucking top 5. Before we start the top 5, I have some honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut that I do want to mention because I genuinely love all 8 of these things that I'm talking about. But I can't make a top 8, so that's what an honorable mentions spot is for. It's for a cop-out, basically. The first honorable mention I want to talk about is Food Wars. It has this very warm feeling to it. It feels like you're just waking up for the morning. When that first line hits and it's got like that scratchy voice but that very high tone and it's a very relaxed music, you just feel like it's your alarm clock. It's just, okay, time to get up, time to do what I wanted to do today. It oddly shows the drive that Soma has to complete school and become the next his father, or rather the first Soma, not the second Yukihara. Another honorable mention I wanted to bring up was Witchblade. The visuals show Misery super well. You get this black and red, almost like smeared sort of, it's like a blend, like if you were to take the blend tool in like Photoshop and just kind of, that's the background, so there's this weird, ominous feeling to it. It portrays a sort of danger, but sort of mystery. I know I'm probably giving you a little too much, I don't want to spoil anything, but the show isn't a very happy one. It also sort of acts as like a mini backstory, even though we don't really need it. It's just nice. You have this mini backstory of like her like being there alone as a human, and the Witchblade, the actual glove, the gauntlet, falling in front of her or finding it, activating it for the first time. You really get like a sort of backstory from this opening, and in openings, what you're doing here is this is the first thing, or at least one of the first things your audience is going to see. I actually personally have a theory about openings that you can honestly tell whether or not you're going to like a show from the opening. I don't know everybody else. I personally have fit that motto so far. If you put effort into the opening, and I'm not talking about you Thundercats because I know you're a lie, but everything else, it's generally if they put a lot of effort into the opening, and if you get the idea and the tropes of openings, because openings themselves have tropes, like characters walking, and oh, this is the villain squad, and you have these little things in them, and if you can dissect them, you learn a lot about the series before you watch it. And by the way, it's not ecstasy, it's literally XTC, by Psychic Lover. That is the... yup! The last honorable mention I want to mention before we get to our actual top 5 is Ri Hamatora. Regular Hamatora honestly has a great opening, really beautiful, visually beautiful, surreal art style, because there's this weird mix of colors, and whenever they activate a power, it's like this weird, like this, I guess, like hippie-ish psychic kind of like blend to it. The wording I'm using is awful, and I acknowledge that 100%. Go ahead and watch the first opening for this too. The one I'm talking about is Re Hamatora, the second half of that series, and it's the second opening. I think this one's better. The music in this, when it hits that chorus, it's just different. It feels different. As far as style points, this wins. There's not many other on here that's going to visually appeal to you more. This has got this perfect blend of greens and blues and almost like almost like the Predator color, you know, like Heat Vision, how it has like a different, it's that almost. And also the song itself constantly is building to that final reveal, quote unquote, the chorus in this case, which is a direct parallel to the show, which is entirely building up to that one huge reveal in Re Hamatora, which I don't want to get into. Technically the end of Hamatora. And now into our actual top 5. I know we've wasted enough time. It's probably been like 2 or 3 minutes of stuff that shouldn't matter because it's not in our top 5. D. Gray Man opening 3. I genuinely, if it was songs alone, and it wasn't just like openings, this would probably be number 1. I think the piano in the beginning of the song is so addictive. Aside from the piano, there's other things too, like we intro our very, very large group of characters we're dealing with. We get to see, it's the third opening, so we get to see the people we love, and we start to intro new people. You get to see Millennium Earl and his group of those zombie-like people. You get to see Alan Walker and his group. But when they add that echo and power to the vocalist's voice. The power is not really added. I'm sure that's just the power of his voice, but that echo that they digitally add in, and just, it adds this epic allure to the show. The fourth one I'm going to go with is Mirai Nikki, or Future Diary. The visuals of that red background, again, when you see red, it's usually implying something more negative or murdery, for lack of a better term. There's plenty of them, I'm just an idiot. Visually, the opening is just genius. It leaves these little plants of, like, this knife that the fourth would use, or this ball that the seventh would use, or just in general, any combination of that. Okay, the eye patch for Minane. And you have all these little references, and they disintegrate, which, when you first watch, means absolutely nothing. It really doesn't. It could mean a metaphor for, like, a bunch of things. They're losing themselves. But no, and then you actually get the plot, and you're like, oh, okay. Oh, fuck, that means oof. I love when an opening could potentially spoil everything, but isn't as obvious about it as this one. This one's a little too obvious, I'll give you that. So, if there is a negative on this one at all, it's that it could potentially spoil some things, if you're clever enough to pick up on it. One of my personal, if not my favorite, anime of all time, Baccano. Capturing the funky side of the show with music, you have that jazzy kind of, oh god, how do you hate this? It just makes you want to I just want to live in old school New York. It wants me to go back and just live with it, and I want every second of that. The opening's very showing. It really, since, again, I think I mentioned this for one of the other ones, it has a large group of characters. Yes, I did for D. Gray Man. Same with this, it has a large group of characters. This one really, as far as introducing your characters in an opening, none do it better than Baccano. It has those almost Borderlandsy and Suicide Squad feelings of just, poof, character, free screen, show their name, move to the next one. The only difference, and why this is the best, is transition-wise, genius. Like, for example, you'll have a guy lift his glass bottle pouring alcohol. In the reflection of the glass, you see his sidekick, the person who works with him, who's potentially going to betray him later. Then we go into the stagecoach, where we start introducing all these characters, like Chane and LaForet and Lad Russo, who doesn't give a shit about his wife, who totally throws a dart at her way before she moves out of the way. And that's the thing, the little things like him throwing the dart before she moves, you get that's Lad Russo. You get his character. Dallas Genoir drowning, probably in debt, potentially in real life. I don't fucking know. That dude gets into some shit every time he leaves his door. Oh, I'm gonna walk outside my door, I'm gonna leave my doorstep, and I'm already arrested. Wonderful. But it's a very sitcom-y style of just and then my name would pop up at the bottom of the screen. The camera work, the transition work, the music, everything in this, the idea of Isaac and Media, just like they're kind of like the main characters because they're always like in the underlining of the series, fucking things up while we get the actual plot. The same in the opening. Start it and come throughout it, and I just love. I fucking love them. They're probably one of the best couples in the history of anime. Oh man, this is turning into me loving the show. The opening is just as good. The opening is just as good. So now we got the next one we're doing, Death Parade, opening 1. This is definitely not underrated. You can go into Bradio, and then it's like, Death Parade brought me here. Bradio's the band that does this song, by the way. If you don't know Bradio and you want to check out some Japanese music, check out Bradio. I genuinely suggest them. Spicy Madonna, some genuinely really good songs in there. This song and this opening is really unique because it's the only one on the list that expertly uses juxtaposition. For example, the song is, everybody put your hands up. And you have like this nice, yeah, that's wonderful, right? Yeah, everybody put your hands up, have fun. The show is about literally shepherding people into the correct afterlife. So there's like a 50-50 chance of you going to hell. Everybody put your hands up. Oh god, don't send me to hell, please. The song is just so happy and fun, and it's juxtaposed to such a dark job. Because that's really what it is. Each of those characters you see in the opening is basically sort of, think of it like a Grim Reaper, and they're shepherding you to which way you have to go. And moving on to our number 1, Kenichi, the mightiest disciple, or the mightiest disciple Kenichi, however you see. Strongest disciple, it could be anyone. This opening is just, from that first drum beat to the end, one of my personal favorites. This show is entirely about a character who is weak, working his ass off and getting strong. Being strong. Be strong. The idea of the opening, starting off with that strong drum beat, you start seeing Kenichi go through his training with his masters. You masters, as notice I said that, he has like 5 or 6 of them. Series is all about abusing this poor kid to make him strong. There's no strength without sacrifice, and the opening shows almost every step of the way, except for the payoff, which is fucking genius. You show him working. That's the brunt of the show. The payoff for you as an audience is him actually finally applying his martial arts. And they don't ruin that in the opening. Instead, for the action in the opening, they use their masters. The ones that are literally gods. The ones that are blowing people away with just, I'm standing here. Rah! The music, it's got this feeling to it. It adheres itself to that whole temperament of just keep going. You got this. Just roll through. You're gonna roll through this training. It's not gonna be easy, but just keep on rolling through. You just gotta keep move like water. I just really want to drive home that in Kenichi, why I think this is the best like non-long-running series opening. I think it's only like 50-something episodes if you don't count the OVAs. With the OVAs, maybe like a little under 60, maybe a little over. I genuinely think that this is the best because it really drives home the point of the show. When you watch that one, you get it. You could miss the juxtaposition point of Death Parade and be tricked by the fun. Yeah, this seems cool. Games and fun. You could be tricked by Bakano because it doesn't really deliver a lot of the plot. It just gets you to know the characters. You could not understand what D. Gray Man is about. There's just a bunch of people. I'd say that the reason that's number 5 is because it really is just people shots for the brunt of it. Mirai Nikki is probably the closest one to rivaling this, but it runs that line of just, hey, did we show a little too much? Did we show a little too much? Did we? I personally think it did. Still one of the best openings. Not trying to shit on it. Even gold can have a little speckle of poop on it. Sometimes you just gotta wipe it off. And if you can, like and subscribe, leave a comment below. I'd really appreciate the comment more than the others. Subscribing helps, but this is more about conversation than anything else, and I'd really like to have more conversation with people, whether they agree with me or not. Last thing we're doing is picking the show for next week, so you pretty much don't even have to check the description info. If you want to, go for it. I'm sure there's some special thanks there. And let's make this a good one. I really want to make this count. And I really want to get a Cartoon Network show, since that was predominantly my childhood. I do have a couple of Kids WB shows that I accidentally slipped in through here, so if I pick one of those out, I'm just going to get rid of it. We'll just pick another one. And this looks like a good one. Alright. Unfold it right here, and let's see what we're doing next week. Well, it is Cartoon Network. Yogis Treasure Hunt. I guess I'll see you next week. Or not. I don't blame you.